Hey, Chicago fans, I'm Stacey Sturman. You're listening to a new show called The Chicago Hour. This show came about as a request from my friend Greg at Maple River Winery and Distillery. He's a huge Chicago fan and thought there should be a show dedicated specifically to this band that has stood the test of time. So with some sponsorship dollars, I can make anything happen. Chicago is still on the road after 30 years of writing and performing. In fact, they may be coming to a city near you soon. You even have a chance to sing a song with Chicago. I'm going to tell you all about this cool promotion that they're doing again this year. I'll also let you know during this hour who is still with the band and who is now covering the band's classic 25 or 6 to 4. I'm also going to be playing at least 5 of their number 1 hits. So stay tuned. You're listening to the Chicago Hour on urlradio.net, sponsored by Maple River Winery and Maple River Distillery.
Well, you called me up this morning, told me about the new love you found.
That was one of their number 1 AC hits, Look Away. It was actually written by Diane Warren, and it was recorded by Chicago for their 1988 album, Chicago 19, with Bill Champlin singing lead vocals. When released as a single that year, the song proved successful, topping the Billboard Hot 100 for 2 weeks in December 1988. Their last song to do so, actually. Look Away was the 7th of 8 number 1s on the adult contemporary chart. The single also yielded the band's most successful year-end singles ranking, number 1 on Billboard's 1989 year-end Hot 100. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with Meet the Band and some tour dates. You're listening to the Chicago Hour on URL Radio, sponsored by Maple River Winery and Maple River Distillery. Welcome back to the Chicago Hour, sponsored by Maple River Winery and Maple River Distillery. Let's meet the band as they're touring today. Robert Lamb, founding member, he wrote many of the band's biggest hits, including Does Anybody Really Know What Time It Is?, Beginnings, Saturday in the Park, Dialogue, and 25 or 6 to 4. His vocal and keyboard performances are instantly recognizable. He's a huge part of Chicago's signature sound. Lee Loughnane, founding member. Besides playing trumpet, his songwriting contributions for Chicago have included the hit single Call on Me from Chicago 7 and No Tell Lover from Hot Streets, as well as album cuts such as Together Again, which was on Chicago 11. James Pankow, founding member, trombonist, composed many songs for Chicago, including Make Me Smile and Color My World. Just You and Me, I've Been Searching So Long, Old Days, Alive Again. He's responsible for most of Chicago's horn arrangements. Walt Paradiser, founding member as well. His primary musical role in the band has consisted of playing saxophone, flute, and woodwinds. His compositional contributions include It Better End Soon, the second movement, Free Country, Air, Devil's Sweet, Window Dreamin'. His highly recognizable flute solo in the Chicago hit Color My World is a Chicago classic. In 2008, he was awarded an honorary Doctor of Humane Letters by DePaul University. Jason Scheff, next on the list. At age 23, he joined Chicago way back in the mid-1985 when Peter Cetera left to pursue a solo career. His ability to closely duplicate Cetera's vocal parts and play bass guitar allowed the band to continue their touring and recording efforts without a hitch. He debuted on lead vocals in the 1986 single Will You Still Love Me? Besides performing the band's classical material, Scheff has composed 7 original songs for the band, including the 1989 top 10 single What Kind of Man Would I Be? He is the oldest son of well-known session bassist Jerry Scheff, who toured for several years with Elvis Presley. Keith Howland, since 1985, he's been the lead guitarist for Chicago, being a longtime fan of the band. He showed up to auditions thanks to a chance meeting with Jason Scheff. He was offered a job the same day. Tris Imboden, prior to joining Chicago back in 1990, as well as during his tenure as the band's drummer, he's had a successful career as a studio session player. Among his works have been sessions for Neil Diamond, Kenny Loggins, Firefall, Richard Marx, Stevie Vai, Roger Daltrey, and Crosby, Stills, and Nash. He also toured as a drummer with Kenny Loggins, Al Jarreau, and Firefall. And then last on the list, we have Lou Pardini. Lou is an American Grammy-nominated keyboardist, songwriter, and vocalist. He worked with notable musicians such as Stevie Wonder and Santana, and as of August 2009, replaced Bill Champlin. He also has written songs for artists such as Smokey Robinson and The Temptations. Call on Me shows off Lou's powerful style, which is a perfect match for the band. Speaking of that, how about we do play a little Call on Me? So stick around. I'm going to tell you who is covering the latest Chicago songs. And also, we're going to be talking about a great fundraiser that Chicago is involved with for cancer. And you can be involved too on urlradio.net. The more hits we play, the more hits we get. urlradio.net. Stacey Sturm, you're listening to the Chicago Hour. Now, 25 or 6 to 4 is a song written by Robert Lamb, one of the founding members of Chicago. It was recorded for their second album, Chicago, back in 1970 with Peter Cetera on lead vocals. The song was edited and released as a single in June of that year, climbing to number 4 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 chart and number 7 on the U.K. singles chart. An updated version of 25 or 6 to 4 was recorded for the 1986 album Chicago 18, featuring new band member Jason Scheff on lead vocals. The single reached number 48 on the U.S. chart. This version was also used as the B-side for the band's next single in 1986, Will You Still Love Me? The song appears as an on-disc track also in the video game Rock Band 3. Konstantin Maroulis of American Idol and Rock of Ages has released his Take No Prisoners performance of Robert Lamb's composition of 25 or 6 to 4. And here's a little clip of that. So there you go. That's Konstantin Maroulis's remake of 25 or 6 to 4. I think Jason Scheff still sounds better, but Chicago fans have long argued about the meaning of the song. When it was released, there was speculation that the lyrics were drug-related, but the same thing was said about many songs back in the late 60s, early 70s, and the rumor has been largely dismissed. Lamb himself says that the title is just a reference to the time of day, and that the song is about writing a song. It's not mystical. The time of day is in reference to 3:35 a.m. or 3:34 a.m., give or take 25 or 26 minutes to 4 a.m. So 25 or 6 to 4 a.m. So there you go. Not as exciting as it sounds, but it still sounds good on your radio. You're listening to the Chicago Hour, sponsored by Maple River Winery and Distillery on URL Radio. Now here is the real 25 or 6 to 4. The more hits we play, the more hits we get. urlradio.net. Another one of their number one songs, Hard for Me to Say I'm Sorry. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'll tell you about a great cancer fundraiser Chicago is involved in, and you could be too. You're listening to the Chicago Hour, sponsored by Maple River Winery and Distillery on urlradio.net.
Maple River Winery and Maple River Distillery. Now that's a river we can and want to use this summer. If you can't get to the river, let the river come to you. Maple River Winery will ship anywhere. They currently ship to over 35 states. Their strawberry rhubarb wine was named 2010 International Fruit Wine of the Year from the Indy International Wine Competition. Maple River Distillery will also ship their spirits, but only to North Dakota residents. Try their infused vodkas, cordials, and brandies in over a dozen flavors. Check out their selection and order online at www.northdakotawinery.com. That's northdakotawinery.com. You can also stop into their historic downtown Castleton location or try a liquor store near you. Take me to the river, Maple River Winery and Distillery.
The more hits we play, the more hits we get. urlradio.net. Music fans and breast cancer advocates had a second chance at the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to sing on stage with the legendary rock and roll band with horns, Chicago. Last year, the band joined forces with the American Cancer Society, the official sponsor of birthdays, to create Sing with Chicago, a highly successful promotion that raised tens of thousands of dollars to fight breast cancer and saw auction winners sing the hit song If You Leave Me Now with the band at 62 concerts throughout the United States. The Sing with Chicago promotion was such a great time for the fans, and it contributed so much to the breast cancer cause, they decided to do it again for this tour. We're doing it again this year in honor of our friend, the wife of Notre Dame head football coach Brian Kelly, who is a breast cancer survivor, says Chicago's manager. This year's tour kicked off in California on April 1st, and it runs through May. The band resumed U.S. tour dates in late July. Fans in each city will have a chance to bid on a package that includes a meet and greet with the band, 2 premium tickets, backstage passes, and the opportunity to sing on stage with the band. As an added bonus this year, the highest overall bidder at the end of the tour will win a guitar autographed by the band. Anybody can bid using Mission Fish. It's the charitable arm of eBay. Last year's winners were so moved by the experience that they launched the face group I Sang With Chicago, where they shared stories about their concerts and videos of themselves on stage singing with the band. If you want to check it out, just go to facebook.com and search up in the top in the search engine, I Sang With Chicago, and it should pop up. Speaking of that, Chicago may be coming to a city near you, so you might have a chance to sing with them. I have Chicago's tour dates coming up next. You're listening to the Chicago Hour, sponsored by Maple River Winery and Maple River Distillery. The more hits we play, the more hits we get. URLradio.net. Stacey Sturm taking you back to old days on URL Radio. You're listening to the Chicago Hour. Let's take a look at their current tour schedule. They might be coming to a place near you. Looks like they're kicking off today, actually. Chicago's in concert in Denver, Colorado with the Colorado Symphony Orchestra. So that'll be pretty cool. And then on Thursday, they are in Costa Mesa, California. And then on Friday, they are at the California Mid-State Fair. On Saturday, they are going to be at Thunder Valley Casino Amphitheater in Lincoln, California. They'll also be hitting San Diego, California, Tucson, Arizona, San Antonio, Texas, Austin, Texas, and Houston, Texas within the next couple of weeks. Springfield, Missouri, Charlotte, North Carolina, Baltimore, Maryland, Vienna, Virginia, Guilford, New Hampshire, New York, Detroit, Michigan, just to name a few. That's running through August. And if you want to check their entire tour schedule, you can go to their website, chicagotheband.com. chicagotheband.com, and they have their entire tour schedule, so you can see if they're going to be coming to a venue near you. You're listening to the Chicago Hour on URLradio.net. The more hits we play, the more hits we get. URLradio.net. You're listening to the Chicago Hour, sponsored by Maple River Winery and Maple River Distillery. All right, Chicago fans, you can download a new free song off Chicago's official website, chicagotheband.com. It's Another Rainy Day in New York. I'm not just telling you that. That's actually the title of the song. It's called Another Rainy Day in New York. You can get it off their homepage, but here is a taste right now on URLradio.net. The more hits we play, the more hits we get. URLradio.net. That's Another Rainy Day in New York, Chicago's new song, free to download off chicagotheband.com. You're listening to the Chicago Hour, sponsored by Maple River Winery and Maple River Distillery on URLradio.net.
Maple River Winery and Maple River Distillery. Now that's a river we can and want to use this summer. If you can't get to the river, let the river come to you. Maple River Winery will ship anywhere. They currently ship to over 35 states. Their strawberry rhubarb wine was named 2010 International Fruit Wine of the Year from the Indy International Wine Competition. Maple River Distillery will also ship their spirits, but only to North Dakota residents. Try their infused vodkas, cordials, and brandies in over a dozen flavors. Check out their selection and order online at www.northdakotawinery.com. That's northdakotawinery.com. You can also stop into their historic downtown Castleton location or try a liquor store near you. Take me to the river, Maple River Winery and Distillery.
The more hits we play, the more hits we get. URLradio.net. Stacey Sturm signing off. The first edition ever of the Chicago Hour, sponsored by Maple River Winery and Distillery. Thanks so much for having us on today. Really do appreciate it. And if you have a favorite Chicago tune, make sure you email me, Stacey, at URLradio.net. And we will be glad to include it in our next segment. Everybody have a great day.